Hey guys, what is going on? It's Don here from Pandemic Playgrounds, and today's going to be a short one. I just wanted to update you guys on what's going on with the gearbox, and I took a lot of your guys' suggestions on what to do, and I made a little bit of improvements to this guy, so let's check it out. Now, first of all, one of the biggest comments you guys were talking about was to add... Why is my dampeners off? Okay, there you go. Rotors towards the piston. This way I don't need to run two pistons and the rotors could keep it spinning, which is a perfect idea. So you can see how smoothly it is running right now. I got the first rotor, or the rotor engine, on 10 rotations per millisecond. Is that how it is? Let's see, 10 RPM. So that's what I got done right now. You can see it's moving smoothly according to this rotor. It looks exactly the same speed as this one, and then you got that rotor spinning the same speed as well. So I ended up adding a second rotor over here just to balance the entire crankshaft. This way it doesn't rattle as I slide a gear into second gear. Now I still am running into issues with clanging because this thing just loves to clang, but first gear seems to do fairly well. But it's as soon as I switch the gear over to the next gear, that's when a lot of problems starts to happen and it's a lot of clanging. So I'm going to show you guys right now. I might need more suggestions on what I can do to balance that, but I think I might need to add another rotor here, because you can see how smooth this is right now. It's like not tapping anything. It's really solid. It's moving slow. It's good. Same goes for here. It's not like rattling or anything. It's not moving. It's working pretty well. But now if I put into second gear, slides over, clang. So it was clanging on the first crankshaft gear right over here until I added this rotor. And after I added this rotor, it seemed to have stabilized a bit, but it's still rattling a lot. And then you could see on the second gear, this is also rattling a lot, but it's still spinning fairly well. Not smooth, but it's still spinning. It's working, but not ideal. But you can see it's like rattling here as well, pretty bad, pretty intense. And it's skipping onto a third one, and you can see the sparks coming up when it's hitting up the final gear. And look, this doesn't seem to be spinning smoothly anymore. That doesn't seem to be moving smoothly as well. But if anything, the gear ratio is working. It's 1:3, so this is spinning pretty well. And I mean, it's spinning. It's not spinning pretty well, it's spinning. But definitely, I think it really needs some sort of way to stabilize it, because as soon as it goes further out, the torque, I can't even explain it, like what it's doing. Now I did turn off shared inertia, and either way it seems to don't make a difference or anything. Maybe the piston needs it too. Let me turn shared inertia tensor on. Yeah, it seems to not have done anything as well. It's still doing the rattling, banging up over there, and it's still sparking up. But if I turn it back to first gear, it runs perfectly smooth. I really think it just has to do with maybe needing a second rotor. So I might add that in a future build just to see if it stabilizes everything, because I do want to get this gearbox to be working at least 80 to 90% without any issues, because I want to convert this into a vehicle eventually. Like actually add a drivetrain, differential in the back, add two wheels, and then in the front do some steering. So I want to put this all together and be able to get through all the gears. I still haven't moved up to doing 3 gears yet, because I can't even solve the problem with 2, so don't add more oil to the fire, you know, or water to the fire, however that is. I'm trying to avoid more problems until I could sort this issue out. But if this is unavoidable, that's going to be a problem. Maybe I could use a different gear set. So I was thinking, instead of using this gear, I could go and use, so I'm using this gear right now, and maybe if I switch it up to using something like this, which is the bevel gear, it might do a little bit better, because I could actually get that to turn. So I would change this main gear, this one right here, the big one, over to something like this bevel, okay, the 24 tooth one, and then have it aligned towards maybe one of this or this one to have a drive shaft going all the way to the back, if that's making sense to anyone. That's probably a possibility because this is the only gear that touches the final gear. The big one is the only one that touches the final gear. So if I change that over to what I was just mentioning, I might be able to get a better, maybe less clang, because the biggest concern right now is the clang. That's what's causing this little skipping thing, and I really want to get this to work. And then maybe if I can get this to an operational vehicle, I could drop it down to Mars or something. Now I do want to make a steering system as well, a manual steering system, and I was thinking of using this gear. Let me see what's the name of it. This one, the rack gear, or the rack and pinion, or the rack. So I could actually turn it into some sort of steering wheel with using a rotor and driving the, what do you call it, the rack and pinion, or the steering pinion, or I forgot what the name of it is. But in the front I would probably use that gear to make it so I could steer left and right. So this whole thing would be driven by rotors and some sort of gear assembly. Now, end goal is to make it so it could ride faster than what these vehicles can do, because max speed on these vehicles I think was like 50 ms or 60 ms or something like that. It wasn't super high, but my end goal is to make it run faster than that. Now I might want to change this wheel over to one of these suspensions. So there's a way to actually add the suspension, make it so it goes into the middle, and make it solid so the suspension doesn't move. The reason behind that is because these wheels actually have better collision than the block wheel. The block wheel still has a square collision, so the faster you go, you will still bounce around. While using this type of suspension or this setup, the wheel itself is actually a lot smoother. So that's my end goal, to be able to run that with those type of wheels, maybe a 5x5 on a 3x3 suspension. Again, there's a way to attach that if you use build planner. Build planner allows you to actually just attach any wheels as long as you're having it close, so it kind of is like a cheat. And then run that whole system on maybe this platform or something like that and see how it runs. I'm getting close. The gearbox is almost there, changing gears smoothly compared to last time when you saw it, but still a little bit of a clang. The first gear is perfect, just that has so much issues. Look at that, it's so bad. It kind of makes me nervous. I think making that second piston with that rotor might help it. I might have to do that probably on the next build. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know down in the comments below. But that is it for me. I just wanted to show you guys where I'm at with this build. It took me a lot of time just to redo this whole setup to add these rotors on. It was not as simple as just jumping on and doing it, so I didn't film that part. But yeah, this is the end result of your suggestions. Anyway, thank you so much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.